Got your instructions for jacking up your Jeep and taking off the wheels. You just have this thumb screw, holds everything in place. Just put that right there. These are the chocks to chock your wheels so the Jeep doesn't move when you jack it up. Here's the jack. This goes on the jacking points. This is your lug wrench. So you just gotta unscrew this. Okay, here we go. Here's the 19mm lug wrench. The screw jack. Here's the stud for helping you align the lug nuts. So this screws into the hub on the axle. Then you slide the tire across this, or the wheel across this. And this is the full-size spare. This is where it goes on the pinch weld right here. This is the piece you want on the pinch weld. What I like to do is feel the pinch weld. Okay, we're underneath the Jeep. Here's the jack. This is the pinch weld you're supposed to put the jack on. So that little groove right there on the top of the jack goes in the pinch weld right there. There, that's where it goes, right there, just like that. So don't use this one. There's one in the top you use. Gives you more room. Not sure why they have that one. Raise it up and hold it up. Against the pinch wheel, so you're holding the jack up and the pinch wheel is where it's supposed to go, and then you can line up your cribbing so you're in the center. There we go. That works well. And you can continue jacking it up, or you can use your impact driver and do it faster like this. My driveway slopes down that direction, so it's good to try this stuff out in the driveway in the concrete, because this is the easiest place it's going to be. You get up there in the mud or the sand, it's just going to be harder, or the snow. This is pretty high. You got this thing high enough where you could put some sticks, and you know, if you're out on the trail, you put sticks and rocks underneath here and then lower it back down with the jack. Then you could raise it up so you're not high centered anymore. And this setup I have with the pads right here, that spreads the weight of the Jeep out from the jack, because you're going from this little tiny footprint here to this big footprint here, so it spreads it out in the mud or the sand or whatever you're in. And the 4x4s give you more height. So this is kind of a poor man's way of setting up for off-road recovery, so it doesn't cost hardly anything. But it's kind of the minimum you got to have when you're out there on the trail. You could just use your jack by itself if you want to, but this gets you a lot more toward being able to get out of more difficult situations. I have the Jeep jacked up far enough to where I can get this 4x4 underneath the tire, room to spare, and or I could jack up the Jeep more because I have more throw on the OEM screw jack. That's what you want to do. If you get high centered, you can jack it up with your jack, but you got to have a little more. Got to have some more cribbing. So you get yourself a 4x4, cut it into like 18-inch lengths. So you got a couple for your jack, You got some to stick under your tire to lift you up, to get you unstuck. You could use a 2x4 too. It just takes more of them, and then you crisscross them. Crisscross the cribbing so you can get more height. You need some kind of setup like that that's pretty light and inexpensive way to get set up for at least minimum recovery. I wanted to show how this stud works that attaches to the jack. Goes right in here. This stud, it's got a little hole there so you can stick a screwdriver in there and do it in case you get stuck. You screw it in to the hub like this. And that way, it makes it a little bit easier. To get your wheel on, you just stick it in there like that. There we go. Put these in. Put a couple of them in. Take this out. It's just tighten a couple of these down to align it. Make sure the taper of these nuts go align with the taper in your wheel, and they'll align. It'll kind of line everything up. You want to start them by hand. Make sure they're not cross-threaded, because you should go on real easy. Lug nuts or lug studs, whatever you want to call them, they get tightened to 100 foot-pounds. So 19 millimeter, 100 foot-pounds. Okay, notice how long my torque wrench is. It's pretty dang long compared to the OEM lug wrench, so you're gonna have to put a lot of force on this to get it to 100 pounds or break them loose. So let's get these tightened up. This is a snap torque wrench, so it'll pop when it's at the proper torque. Let's kind of go around. Oh, there it goes. There's one. You hear that? Let's go with this one. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we're on one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now, with the OEM lug wrench, let's see what it takes to get one of these off. It isn't that easy. So, I'm no lightweight either, so keep that in mind. It's not easy to get those off if they're torqued properly with this. You might want to try and make sure you can get those off. There we go. Just like this thing's not light. Pretty heavy. Just drops back in. This goes back together just like this. This little protrusion goes in there, and then there's a hole in the handle of the lug wrench, and that drops in to this, just like that. And then you run the jack up to tighten everything up so nothing rattles around. And the big long stud that's comes out of the bottom of the spare tire well, goes into this hole in the jack handle. Fits right in there like that. Then on top of that goes the 2 chocks, 2 wheel chocks, and then this thumb screw. Tightens everything down. So rattling around.